Okay, today's video is a slightly different video. I'm actually looking at the Pearson Edexcel Physics IGCSE Paper 1 that took place last week on Thursday, 22nd of May, 2025, to analyze what came up. So here's an analysis of what came up in Paper 1. So we can work out what hasn't yet been examined in the 2025 paper. Okay, so we're talking about Pearson Edexcel IGCSE Paper 1. So Paper 2 still to go. So we want to try to work out what's going to be in Paper 2. So Paper 1 had 11 questions, which tested you on the following, those of you who took it. Question 1 had balanced forces, resultant forces, braking distance, thinking distance, and kilonewtons. Okay, so using the prefixes. Question 2 looked at uniform magnetic fields, induced magnetism. Therefore, you need to know what soft magnetic materials are. So question 1 was topic 1. Question 2 was topic 6, and as you know, there are 8 topics. Question 3, it had some circuit symbols. It had a thermistor resistance temperature graph, which hopefully you worked out. It used the V equals IR equation, and it was discussing putting components in series, and you had to explain what would happen in that particular scenario. So this is topic 2, which is electricity. Question 4 was about energy transfers by conduction. So they have different metals, and it was a question to do with investigation skills. It involved planning a method, so how well you could plan, and to make a bar chart from the data provided, and then to come up with a conclusion. Okay, so that was topic 4, energy transfers. So we've had 1, 2, 4, and 6 so far. Question 5 was about radioactivity. The main focus was alpha particles, their properties, and writing a balanced nuclear equation where alpha was emitted. And there was a question about ionization. Okay, they were looking at a Wilson cloud chamber, so it basically left a trail behind it. Okay, so now we've done topic 7. So that's 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7. Question 6 was about motion, this time of a rocket. So I think you had to use a Suvat equation. You had to sketch a velocity time graph and a distance time graph as well. Okay, so once again, that's topic 1. So forces and motion, for people doing just paper 1, double science, is kind of covered there. Question 7 was about light. They want you to know what transverse means. There was fiber optics, which has total internal reflection, and you had to measure the critical angle with a protractor and calculate the refractive index by using the correct equation. So that's topic 3. So now if you think about it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So the only topics left are 5 and 8. Okay, so question 8 is the solar system, which is topic 8. Orbits, orbital speed equation, using period and presumably circumference. I actually haven't done the paper, but I had a quick scan through it today with 2 of my students who came for help to look at what they can do next for paper 2. Okay, so topic 8 is now covered. So all we're looking for is topic 5. And then question 9 is about springs, which normally would be in forces, but this time it was oscillations and energy transfers in an oscillating spring mass system. And you had to analyze the energy transfers and stores involved while it was oscillating. So that's topic 4 again. And that kind of question will come up in A-level. So if you're thinking of doing A-level, that would come in the oscillations topic. Question 9 hasn't finished. They then continued with a theme of springs, but this time springs as shock absorbers. And inside the shock absorbers, they had magnets and coils moving, vibrating as you went over bumps to generate electricity. So there's a good link between topic 4 and topic 6, electromagnetism. So the movement of the oscillations creates electricity. So topic 6 is covered again. So we had earlier topic 6 about magnetism, and here you got electromagnetism, the coil generating electricity. Okay. Question 10 is from solids, liquids and gases. So you had to look at density. They gave you a gold ring. They want you to know how to measure mass, yes, and volume. And presumably they want you to do it accurately. So they also give you a question relating to density equation, and there's some written section to it. So topic 5 is now covered. So there we go. We have now covered every single topic at least once. Okay? So what the final question was question 11, which made you calculate kinetic energy, and they are trying to confuse you. They wanted you to convert grams into kilograms. Okay? So you have to do grams into kilograms and seeing if you did it the right way. And then they use radio waves bouncing off the object with kinetic energy, and the reflected waves were a source of waves, and it created the Doppler effect. Okay? So this links kinetic energy from topic 4 with topic 3, which is the Doppler effect. Okay? So all 8 topics were covered to a greater or lesser extent. So what my students and I did when they came to see me today to help prepare for the next phase of revision, we wanted to look at, okay, let's do this in green again. What have they not asked about which must come up or might come up in paper 2? You'll actually find there's still quite a lot of stuff they could ask you, but they're unlikely to do repeat of the same concepts, so you can think about what we're going to look at. So topic 1, forces. What can they still ask you in forces? Well, obviously, because it's paper 2, they're going to ask you about conservation of momentum and the principle of moments, because these are triple only topics. So green, I'm going to write in triple, so content. Okay? They could still ask you about Hooke's law, even though they gave you a spring, but this is double content. So double content, we'll put in yellow. They could ask you force diagrams. I didn't see any force diagrams. They could ask you more complex Suvat equations, like the use of v squared equals u squared plus 2as. Okay, that hasn't come up so far. And then topic 2, electricity. The main part of electricity, which is in triple, not in double, is static electricity. Everything else that I've listed can come up in either paper. So circuit problems, we haven't really had any circuit problems, so I think there should be, if I was setting the exam, I would want a parallel circuit in there and to give you a problem to solve in electricity. Okay? They could give you mains electricity, because we haven't had anything on mains electricity. They could give you something on power and fuses, because we haven't really had anything on power or fuses, and that will allow them to combine electricity with power. And don't forget, you need to think about the prefixes they use, milliamps, kilovolts, just to make sure that you're aware of those things. Okay? They could also give you static electricity situation with Q equals IT and energy equals QV. Yeah, so Q equals IT could be given in the static electricity type question. So they can combine electricity problems with static electricity, and electricity is charge times voltage. Yeah, or you could say voltage is energy per unit charge. Okay, then topic 3, waves. We haven't really had anything on the wave equation. So V equals F lambda. They could, and now I think they're likely to give you something on oscilloscopes, sound waves. And they could give you conversion of frequency and period using the oscilloscope. And then they could link that with the wave equation. Yeah? So they could find the frequency and then give you the wavelength. I think they could give you that. And don't be surprised if they ask you about longitudinal waves. The other thing we notice is there has been no real emphasis on electromagnetic waves apart from the radio waves that were bouncing off the moving object in paper 1 and the Doppler effect. Okay, so they're unlikely to ask you about the Doppler effect again, but you should be ready because they could ask you about the Doppler effect to do with the expansion of the universe. So maybe in topic 8. So this time I put it in topic order. Topic 4, energy. Obviously the triple content is to do with resources, energy resources. Okay, so renewable, non-renewable. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about, renewable and non-renewable. I'll just put non-ren. Okay, so this is likely to come up because usually there is a question. It may not be very long. They haven't really given you, they gave you conduction, but they haven't really given you an energy transfer which involves conduction, convection, and radiation. And that would be often a 6 marker in a paper 1. So they haven't really given you this. So that could be something that you should really focus in on because you need to be able to describe how you... they could also give you one to do with preventing conduction, convection, radiation. Alternatively, they could link it with topic 5 where you're talking about specific heat capacity. That's also linked to heat and changing state graphs. So they could link unit 4 and 5. I should have done that in green. Specific heat capacity is triple content, changing state graphs. So they could link that with conduction, convection, radiation, heat loss, efficiency. So all of this could be linked to one question, Sankey diagrams and efficiency. Okay? And of course, when you do renewable energy sources, they often give you the prefixes like gigawatts, megawatts, kilowatts, etc. So be ready with your prefixes, and that could be double or triple content. Okay, so topic 4 and 5, for those of you who remember when I taught you topics 4 and 5, I gave you a test covering both topics because they're so closely linked. So topic 5 would be solids, liquids, and gases. Yeah, so solids, liquids, and gases include pressure equations, which we haven't had, like pressure equals force over area. Pressure difference is H rho G, where rho is density. And they haven't given anything on the kinetic theory of gases, the collision between particles as a cause of forces with the walls. Yes, so collisions, rate of collisions. I would say that's probably quite likely to come up. And they haven't given you any gas laws like pressure law, Boyle's law, and therefore they'll expect you to know how to convert temperatures, Kelvin temperatures. So I think that's likely to come up. Then topic 6 is electromagnetism. So they've already asked 2 questions on magnetism, but they haven't asked you about field around currents or coils. Yes, remember, you should be able to know the shape of the fields around long thin wires, flat coils, and long coils like solenoids. You need to know the Fleming's left-hand rule, the motor effect, yeah, and know how to predict which way the force will be. They could ask you that to do with loudspeakers. And remember, the opposite of a loudspeaker is a microphone. So whereas AC electricity goes into a microphone, into a loudspeaker, to produce sound waves by oscillating the part of the speaker that can move, the cardboard. The reverse is if you speak into a microphone, so that could be linked, let's do this in blue, this could be linked with the oscilloscope. Because when you speak into a microphone, you can show the trace on a loudspeaker. Because basically a sound wave, which is longitudinal, so they could link these two, a sound wave which is longitudinal can move something inside the microphone which has a coil next to a magnet, and that produces electricity, produces an AC wave which you can study on an oscilloscope and then work out the frequency, etc., etc. So they could link those two topics, so be warned that that could come up. Then the triple content really is transformers, step up and step down, and the power equation, that the power input equals power output, and the efficiency. So they could link power and efficiency here with Sankey diagrams and efficiency from unit on energy. Okay, so these could be linked. All right, so topic 7, I hope it's not getting too messy for you. Topic 7 is on radioactivity, and what they haven't asked us from combined science content is the half-life graphs, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have to ask something on half-life. Don't forget the unit is becquerels, and don't forget that you need to think about the scientific method of adjusting for the background radiation count when you're using your Geiger-Müller tube. So all of this, I think, could be very likely to come in this paper too. So they could ask you about isotopes. We haven't really had anything on that. They could ask you about uses and dangers. They could ask you contamination versus irradiation. They could ask you about nuclear fission reactors. They can ask you about nuclear reactors, chain reactions, yes, moderators, control rods, so toluene and DEMA. Don't forget to get your revision done on this. Just because it's not triple content, it can come in the triple paper. It'll just be slightly more complicated, or hopefully not too complicated. Topic 8, the final topic, is astrophysics. So what do you need to know? Nuclear fusion can be linked with nuclear fission. So these two topics are also possible to link with fission versus fusion. Yeah. So nuclear fusion for star formation in stars, and nuclear fission, they could give you a combined question linking these two. Okay. Then you've got to look at star formation. Now, does star formation come in both topics? You'll need to check that. And then stellar classification, it comes to some extent, but you need stellar classification and evolution, including HR diagrams. So some of that's double, some of that's triple. So you need to look at it. Brightness of stars, if they talk about absolute magnitude, that's only in triple content. So you need to know what that means. And the other thing they could ask you, which is triple content, is evidence for the Big Bang Theory. So that's the expansion of the universe and cosmic microwave background radiation. Okay, so you need to be able to explain that as a triple science student in paper 2. So I hope you find my list helpful as you enter phase 2 of your physics revision. Your teachers should be available in our school during normal lesson times, but you can send them an email to let them know when you're coming in. Yes, because there are also internal exams going on. And thank you to those of you who sent very good questions in to me by email, which I responded to and put some of the good questions that will help everyone in teams. So on behalf of the science department, I hope you find this useful. Just a reminder that paper 2 is on Monday the 16th of June, so you've got plenty of time to revise and to make sure you tick off all of these things, and I hope you find my list will give you some extra ideas on how to focus in on your revision. Okay, I will post a reminder next Monday. Okay, all right, so hopefully you will do very well. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.